What if I told you that AR doesn't just want to replace your phone? It wants to replace your memories. Right now, as you're watching this, tech giants are racing to build something that makes your smartphone look like a toy. Something that won't just sit in your pocket, but will literally live inside your field of vision 24/7, recording everything you see, hear, and experience. But here's the terrifying part. They're not just planning to record your memories. They want to edit them, delete the bad ones, insert new ones, maybe even sell you someone else's experiences as your own. Welcome to the AR future nobody's talking about. And trust me, you're not ready for this. Let's start with where we are right now, because honestly, it's already way weirder than most people realize. Apple just dropped $3,500 on a headset that can map your entire living room down to the millimeter. Google's been quietly scanning the planet with Street View for over a decade. And Meta, oh, sweet innocent Meta, they're basically building the Matrix, one Instagram filter at a time. But here's what they don't tell you in those shiny keynote presentations. Every time you use a Snapchat filter, you're training their AI to understand your face better than you do. Every time you point your camera at a restaurant menu and it translates the text, that's not just convenience. That's data collection on steroids. And let's talk about memory for a second. You know those on this day notifications that pop up on your phone? The ones that show you photos from exactly 3 years ago, making you go, oh wow, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that's not an accident. These companies have already figured out something disturbing. They remember your life better than you do. Your phone has a more complete record of where you've been, who you've talked to, and what you've done than your actual brain. Think about that. This chunk of metal and glass knows you better than you know yourself. Google Photos, 15 billion photos uploaded every week. Facebook, over 250 billion stored. TikTok, processing 1 billion hours of video every single day. Collectively, these companies have the largest archive of human experience in history, and they're just getting started. Because here's the thing, smartphones were just phase one. Phase one was getting you comfortable with carrying a computer everywhere. Phase one was getting you okay with being tracked, monitored, analyzed. AR is phase two, and phase two isn't about putting a computer in your pocket. Phase two is about putting the computer directly into your brain. Still think I'm being dramatic? Listen to this. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple. AR will be as important as eating 3 meals a day. Mark Zuckerberg. We're building technology that will let people feel connected even when they're apart. Elon Musk. The long-term aspiration is to achieve symbiosis with AI. Symbiosis. That's not human-computer interaction. That's human-computer integration. They're not building tools for you to use. They're building systems for you to become. Okay, so let me paint you a picture of where this is heading. And I'm not talking science fiction. This is all based on patents, prototypes, and public statements from the biggest tech companies on Earth. Imagine waking up and instead of grabbing your phone, you just blink. Suddenly, your entire day is laid out in front of you. Calendar appointments floating next to your coffee cup. Text messages hovering above your breakfast. Your Uber driver's location pinned to your actual front door. Sounds convenient, right? Maybe even kind of cool. But here's where it gets interesting. AR isn't just about overlaying digital information. It's about creating what researchers call persistent digital memory. Think of it like this. Right now, your brain decides what's worth remembering. But what if that decision wasn't up to you anymore? What if every conversation, every emotion, every random thought was automatically captured, categorized, and stored by an AI system? Companies like Neuralink and Synchron are already working on brain-computer interfaces. Apple has patents for neural interface systems. Google's been researching thought-to-text tech for years. Microsoft even filed a patent for a chatbot using deceased persons' data, literally bringing dead people back to life through AI. And here's the kicker. They don't just want to read your thoughts, they want to write them too. The human brain is basically a storage system. And like any storage system, it has limitations. You forget things. You remember things wrong. Memories get fuzzy over time. But what if they didn't have to? What if you could search your life like Google? What if you could share memories with other people? What if you could download someone else's experiences? That's the promise of AR memory augmentation. And honestly, it sounds amazing until you realize who's building it. Because if you control someone's memories, you control their reality. And if you control their reality, you control them. Let me give you some real examples of how this is already starting. There's a company called Rewind AI that records everything you do on your computer. Every web page, every document, every conversation. Their tagline is literally, "Give your brain superpowers." They've raised over $20 million in funding. Another company, Limitless, makes an AI pendant that records all your conversations and meetings, then creates perfect transcripts and summaries. They call it personalized AI powered by what you've seen, said, and heard. Former Apple executives are backing it. Then there's Humane, which just launched an AI pin that's supposed to be the beginning of the end of the smartphone era. It uses AI to answer questions by accessing everything you've ever said or done while wearing it. They raised $230 million before even releasing their product. Notice a pattern here? These aren't just productivity tools. They're memory replacement systems. And investors are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at them. But the really scary part, it's happening in universities too. At UC San Francisco, researchers have developed brain implants that can read and decode speech directly from neural activity. At Duke University, they're working on brain organoids, literally growing brain tissue in labs that can be programmed like computers. MIT has a project called optogenetics, where they use light to control memories in living brains. They can make mice remember things that never happened, forget things that did happen, even transfer memories between different animals. Stanford has developed neural dust, microscopic sensors that can be implanted in the brain to monitor and stimulate neural activity wirelessly. The sensors are so small they can be injected like vaccines. This isn't theory anymore. This is happening right now. Real labs, real funding, real scientists, and the scariest part, we're lining up to buy it. All right, let's get into the disturbing stuff. Because once AR systems can record and store your memories, the next logical step is editing them. And I'm not talking about some distant sci-fi future. The tech to manipulate human memory already exists. Researchers have been doing it in labs for years. 2013, scientists at MIT successfully implanted false memories into mice. They made the mice afraid of a room where nothing bad had ever happened. 2018, researchers deleted specific memories from rats using light therapy. Just gone, like hitting backspace on a keyboard. 2020, scientists transferred memories between sea slugs. One slug suddenly remembered experiences it had never lived. 2022, Boston University figured out how to boost memory formation in humans with electrical stimulation. They could literally make people remember things better by zapping their brains. And in 2023, Japanese researchers implanted false memories in sleeping mice by stimulating brain regions during REM sleep. Now imagine that tech, not in a lab, but inside the AR glasses you wear every day. Picture this. You have a huge fight with your partner. Ugly words, tears, a night you'll never forget. The next morning, your AR system gives you a notification. Traumatic memory detected. Would you like to process this experience? You expect emotional support. Instead, you see options. Reduce emotional intensity. Edit hurtful language. Delete experience entirely. One tap, poof. The fight never happened. At least not in your memory. But memories aren't isolated. They're connected. Delete one, and you may erase others too. Suddenly, your relationship feels different, distant, like something is missing. Maybe you don't delete. Maybe you edit. Screaming becomes a calm discussion. Hurtful words become loving ones. Near breakup becomes personal growth. After a few years, you no longer know which moments are real and which are scripted. And that's just personal life. Let's scale it up. Imagine a political protest. Chaos. People hurt. Video evidence. Witnesses. Hundreds of memories locked into the minds of those who were there. Now imagine that months later, everyone's AR devices receive a security update. Suddenly, the memories shift. The violence wasn't that bad. The police response was fair. Maybe the protesters were the real problem. A generation later, the official history isn't in textbooks. It's written directly into people's brains. Sounds extreme? China already edits live video feeds to erase protesters. They have facial recognition tracking entire cities, a social credit system that punishes wrong think. Add AR memory editing, and they wouldn't just erase videos. They'd erase the memories of everyone who was there, and corporations won't be left out. Because the real money isn't in deleting memories, it's in selling them. Imagine Nike paying to implant a memory of you loving their shoes, McDonald's uploading a memory of your first Big Mac, a pharmaceutical company giving you memories of their pill working perfectly, even if you never took it. Your memories become ad space. Your identity becomes a revenue stream. And the most terrifying part? You'd never know it was happening, because these wouldn't feel like ads. They'd feel like your most authentic experiences. And here's where it gets truly dystopian. Because once this technology exists, every relationship becomes suspect. How do you know if your spouse really loves you? Or if they just edited their memories to erase all the times they were frustrated with you? How do you know if your children's happy childhoods are real? Or if anxious parents upgraded them with artificial nostalgia? How do you know if your own feelings are genuine? Or if they were modified by pharmaceutical companies, political parties, or algorithms nudging your behavior? In a world where memories can be edited, every emotion is questionable. Every relationship might be artificial. Every experience, possibly fake. And the worst part? You'd never be able to tell the difference. Okay, let's dive into the nightmare scenarios. Meet Sarah and Mike, married 10 years. Fights, disappointments, even an affair. Twice they nearly divorced. But Sarah has an AR memory system, and she's discovered something. She can edit out the bad times. Every argument softened, every disappointment rewritten as joy. Mike's affair, deleted, her depression, transformed into personal growth. From Sarah's perspective, her marriage is flawless. She's the luckiest woman alive. But Mike remembers the truth, the fights, the betrayal, the struggles. He tries to talk to Sarah, to work through their past, but to her he sounds insane. She has no memory of the problems he's describing. Their realities no longer match. So Mike faces a choice: erase his memories to live in Sarah's fantasy, or stay trapped in a marriage with someone who no longer remembers who they really are. But that's just marriage. Let's talk about children. Meet Tommy, 8 years old. His family is far from perfect. Dad drinks too much, mom yells when stressed, grandma has Alzheimer's. Their dog died, and the police were once called during a fight about money. But Tommy's parents buy the latest AR memory system for kids. Every night while he sleeps, the system edits his memories. Dad's drinking problem? Rewritten as working late. Mom's yelling? Gentle corrections. The dead dog? Living happily on a farm. Grandma's decline? Healthy and wise. The police visit? Gone. Tommy grows up with a perfect childhood. No pain, no struggle, no coping skills. When he faces the real world, heartbreak, rejection, loss, he falls apart. His brain never learned resilience. And when he has kids, he does the same to them. Entire generations raised on fiction. Children with no real struggles, adults with no ability to handle reality, society collapsing under the weight of people who were programmed to live in a fantasy. And now, identity theft on a level you've never imagined. Meet Jessica, 35, successful, married, a daughter named Emma, a life full of memories that define her, until one day, they're gone. Hackers gain access to her AR system, but they don't just steal her data, they rewrite her life. At first it's small, her favorite ice cream flavor changes. A high school crush has a new name, but then it escalates. She remembers growing up in Seattle, not Denver. She remembers going to USC, not Northwestern. She remembers working in tech, not marketing. She remembers being married to Michael, not David. The fake memories are so vivid, so emotional, her brain accepts them as real. Jessica wakes up a stranger in her own life. Her husband David is unfamiliar. Her daughter Emma feels distant. Her true memories, her real life, feel like fiction. David shows her photo albums, videos, evidence. But to Jessica, they look staged, fake, less convincing than the false memories in her mind. She is no longer herself. She's someone else, wearing her body, her identity stolen, and the most disturbing part, she would never know it happened. So here's the question I want you to really think about. Who are you? Seriously, who are you? Are you your memories, your experiences, your relationships, your struggles and triumphs? Because if an AR system can edit, delete, or replace all of those things, what's left? Think about your most precious memory, your first kiss, your wedding day, holding your child for the first time, a conversation with a grandparent you'll never see again. Now imagine finding out that memory was artificial, uploaded by a corporation, never actually happened, your most defining moment, designed by an algorithm. How would that feel? What would that do to your sense of self? Because here's the terrifying part. You might never know. You could live your whole life treasuring a moment that never happened. Your first love might have been a marketing campaign. Your greatest achievement, an implant. Your deepest spiritual awakening, just product engagement. And you'd never know. This isn't just about technology. It's about what it means to be human. Because your pain, your struggles, your failures, they hurt. But they also shaped you. They made you stronger. They made you real. Take them away and what's left? A hollow shell, a programmable product,